15 Minutes with Rizz, Trump's inauguration, and the coolest kid to ever live in the 80s. All that and more today on the Number 2 Show. Welcome back, everybody, to the Number 2 Show Cold Bowl edition. It is freezing-ass cold here in the studio. Whatever's going on, it's 1 degree where we film this and -8 wind chill, and the building has not caught up to comfortable temperatures. But that's okay because show must go on. We poop whether it's cold. We poop whether it's hot. It is a natural biological function that must happen, so the Number 2 Show must happen as well. And speaking of the Number 2 Show, it's the first episode this year. I have my real Number 2 back. Last week I had a fill-in, but he's back. Let's get it started with 15 Minutes with Rizz.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you look so cool, man. You look like, man.
It's so cold in here.
You look like a guy who is either like handing guitars out at a Rage Against the Machine show or asking me for 50 cents outside of a Quick Trip.
Of all the days for the heat to go out.
Yeah.
Here in St. Louis, what'd you say? It's 1 degree?
It is.
With a -16 wind chill factor.
It is cold, man. It is very cold.
You know, my poor mother, who lives on the East Coast, you know, it snows a lot in New York, and it's bitter cold over there as well.
Sure.
So she said, I'm going to North Carolina to go live with her friend until it warms up in New York. And it's snowing down in North Carolina today. It's snowing in New Orleans today.
She tried to snowbird it and just brought the snow with her.
Brought the snow with her. They hate her over there.
Yeah, it's snowing in New Orleans. I wonder if that slows the drunks down at all. Probably not.
Well, you got hard nips.
Yeah, that's true. You flash, you can get the beads hanging from a nip down
That's
there.
right.
You don't get that every Mardi Gras.
No.
So enjoy that. It is freezing cold. It's bitter cold. When I went outside today to get in the car to come into work, I asked myself, what are we doing here? It was the first time that I said, what are we doing? It's 4 a.m. Why are we doing this? And then I hit the start button on my car, and it was a pretty new car. First time it was cold enough that I heard the struggle happening under the hood, where it didn't fire right up. You know, it was kind of like, God damn, what are you doing, man? Even my car was like, what are you doing?
This is why I'm going to Florida, by the way, to retire. For this reason.
Just for the one. Well, I mean, we don't have that many cold days, though.
Yeah, we do. What do you mean? It's cold. It's going to be cold today. It was cold yesterday. It's going to be cold tomorrow.
In the grand scheme of 365, what do we have here?
Or I could have 365 nice weather.
Well, besides the hurricanes, yeah, you're right.
Okay, fine. Besides the tornadoes here.
There's not tornadoes every year that rip through St. Louis. It's like there's a hurricane every year in Florida.
But specifically where I want to go, not every year.
Okay. Wait, so Boca Raton is hurricane-proof. That's what you're telling me? Let's look up last hurricane in Boca Raton.
Hurricane in Boca. Okay, come on, look it up.
All right.
Go ahead.
Last hurricane in Boca Raton was...
Boca.
The Hurricane Milton made landfall in Florida in 2024 and affected Boca Raton, Florida.
Last year? Okay. But what about before then? Come on, give me the one before Milton.
Power outages. All right. There's actually a Boca Raton hurricane. Boca Raton's history with tropical storms. Let's see. 2024.
Yeah.
2023. 2021.
Okay. A good year in 2022.
You get hit by Hurricane King, Hurricane Hazel, Hurricane Judith, Hurricane Donna, Cleo, Isabel, Betsy, Inez, Dottie, David, Isidore, Bob Floyd, Andrew Gordon, Jerry Mitchell, Harvey, Irene,
Those are
Francis,
a lot of
Katrina, Wilma, Ernesto, Matthew, Irma, and Philippe. So
okay, there may be a lot of hurricanes that roll through Boca.
That's just 109-mile-per-hour winds, dude. Who cares? You'll be fine.
I'll be fine. You know, they have hurricane shutters.
Have you ever been? Let's talk. Let me ask you this.
I have been through a hurricane.
You have?
Yeah.
Where? In New York?
Yeah. Hurricane Gloria. Look that up.
What was that like?
1988 or 89.
All right. Did it?
Hurricane Gloria.
Was it?
It was a big deal.
Was it Gloria Estefan? And the
everybody did the conga.
The Miami
outside.
Sound Machine?
Yeah. Was it a big
actual
deal?
hurricane?
Yeah. I mean, it was an actual hurricane. Hurricane Gloria, New York.
Okay.
Are you doing a quick Google search of that?
I got it up, dude.
So what year was that? 88, 89?
Hurricane Gloria, a tropical cyclone that caused significant damage, 1985 Atlantic hurricane.
85. Ah, damn, dude. 85, I was 7.
You were just a babe.
I remember my parents. The cars were parked outside, so I remember my dad taking the car and making sure it wasn't near anything in case anything collapsed. And we stayed inside. It was fine.
That was it? That was your dad's? That's how you survived a hurricane?
Take
you just
the
stayed
car,
inside?
make sure the car is not under the carport.
And then stayed inside?
And then stayed inside.
Get in a bathtub or any of that cool stuff?
No, look at me. I went through a hurricane.
Hey, you're wearing the outfit of a man that went through a hurricane.
I went through a hurricane, man.
I had a tornado when I was a kid. I do remember vaguely. I was very small, and it was just near us. It didn't touch down. It didn't, like, rip my town apart or anything. But I do remember going to, like, there were storm cellars in every town had, like, it would just look like a hill, like a grass hill. And it was like a little concrete bunker that was, like, built into the ground. And it had, like, a mound of dirt over it. And then, because you'd ride your BMXs on it, 364 days out of the year, dude, it was just a possible ramp for BMXs. And it would always be in, like, someone's backyard or kind of in between two people's yards. And then, like, a whole 5 blocks worth of people would just jam into this thing. And it was basically just like a little concrete bunker, like a little, bomb bunker looking thing. And you just waited out the storm in there, and then everybody would go back to their house.
And how many people could it hold?
You know, it's hard because your kid memory, it feels big. Yeah. But it was you could probably squeeze 15 to 30 in there.
Whoa.
And it'd be tight. But it'd be tight.
And it was just a bunker with like 2 benches that went along the wall. And this was the town bunker.
Yeah, it was just like a little, I don't know what you would call it, dude. So tornado bunkers.
Okay, so
it literally just looked like a little dirt hill. It had ventilation, so you could kind of
Was it like first come first serve if you didn't get to the bunker in time?
I mean, I don't think it was ever overflowed.
Doors closed.
We didn't ever have to make Sophie's Choice or anything. Be like, pick a child and enter. That I remember, but I'm sure that happened. There were several in a town, though. There'd be like one for every few blocks. You know what I mean? So there'd be a couple in your town. You had to know where they were. We had one, I remember it was an old lady's yard. And then my neighbor had one across the street when I was growing up because I mowed her lawn and I had to mow the damn thing. I had to mow up on top of the stupid thing.
Right.
It was just like a little dome, and it just looked like a little, it almost looked like freaking Lord of the Rings, dude. Well, like a little hobbit shelter.
Here's my plan. Okay, so my in-laws live near Boca. They live in a high-rise, okay? And they live on the 14th floor of this big this big, condo building.
Okay.
And they have hurricane shutters. So if there's a hurricane, they close the shutters, and they're fine. How many, you said there were how many hurricanes that blew through Boca? A gazillion. That building's still standing.
I'm still standing. Well, I guess good for you.
Because I don't like this.
Well, I mean, I don't blame you for that. That was going to be my next thing I was going to ask you. Like, what's the coldest, man? Because I was cold today. Like, do you remember any cold weather moments in your life where you were just like, this is wild?
Okay, Chicago in February.
Yeah, that'll cut you to the
horrible.
Bone. Yeah. That's the reason I never moved there for comedy. Everyone's like, Chicago's little New York. It's a great place to get.
Oh, I always heard Chicago's New York with more flowers. What?
Yeah. It's called Second City for a reason. It was always like the second entertainment hub to New York as far as live shows going. But it was the mecca for like improv comedy and stand-up, and I did a lot of improv. But, man, I went up there in February and stayed and rode the Brown Line and the Red Line in and out of, like, one of the neighborhoods that I could afford to live in that my friends lived in. And I was like, dude, this is fucking brutal. Like, it is the 5-block walk to the train station.
That's awful.
Is awful. And if you don't get robbed, the wind is – you're being assaulted by the wind the entire time. And you can't put on enough layers. Like, you'll walk around a corner in Chicago and the wind is like Harvey Weinstein, dude. It's just it's attacking you.
It's touching you all over.
It's taking advantage of you.
Growing up in New York City, you have to walk everywhere, and walk in the summer, walk in the winter, and you'd bundle up, and that wind would cut through alleyways and it would just, no matter what kind of coat you were wearing, it would just go through you. It's cold.
Is that the coldest you ever been?
I remember going camping a couple times in the winter up in the Adirondacks.
Why would you do that? Why winter camp?
Because I was like, listen.
No, is this like cabin camping or tent?
No, I was into like wilderness survival.
Oh, didn't realize you were such a ruffian.
For my like early teen years. So, and I'm not joking you. Like, we'd go up to the Adirondacks and just have a tent, and weather like this, we'd even just go and try to do like wilderness survival stuff with no tent or anything, like build your own shelter.
What, like out of moss and sticks and shit?
Oh yeah, like here's a tarp and some rope, like survive the weekend.
How old were you?
14, 15 years old.
Oh, you kidding me?
No.
I can't believe they would never allow kids to do that now. I sound like an old man, but like they would never just be like, all right, here's a pocket knife, and you boys are going to go up in the Adirondacks in January and build a lean-to.
There was a weekend that I went with my dad, and we'd canoe, 50 miles.
Damn.
On the Hudson River, upstate New York in the Adirondacks.
My nose is running from how cold it is in here. I just want to point that out.
Oh, the worst is like shitting outside in this weather. Oh, God.
You're just the turd freezes before it hits the ground, dude. You're literally shitting icicles out there.
Even if you got a tent and it's a decent tent and you got a good sleeping bag.
Don't matter.
Rated to like, negative 10 sleeping bag, and had to get up and you got to go to the bathroom outside. Oh.
Yeah, that has its own perils too, man. Because when I was in the Army, I was in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and we did winter FTX, which was basically, going out and setting up a fighting perimeter with all these giant 155 howitzer guns that shot the giant, 155 millimeter rounds that you could shoot 6-7 miles downrange. And you had to dig fighting positions. So you're digging in frozen ground, which sucks, with one of those little military shovels they give you, which is basically like a garden trowel. And I was the biggest dude, so I had to carry the saw, which was like the replacement for the M60. Like, it's the bigger, like, submachine gun.
Yeah.
And if you dig a regular fighting position, you dig it about 2 feet deep so two guys can lay in it. And it's like in the shape of a V, right? So you're like laying side by side with your battle buddy. But if you had the saw, you had to dig a chest deep hole so you could stand in it and put this thing on rock and roll to defend your fighting position.
Yeah.
So I was always pissed because I had to dig a hole way deeper than all the other guys.
Yeah.
They'd all be done, and I'm still like digging into the I'm like, dude, I'm digging into the permafrost over here. I'm finding fossils. I'm like, I'm going to awaken some alien symbiote underneath the surface of this fucking ground.
You ever go ice fishing?
No. I don't like fishing. And I don't like ice, so I can't imagine combining the two together. I don't like being cold, and I don't like fishing. So I'm like, let's combine two things I don't enjoy.
When we would go up and do those, survival trips, you would have to go ice fishing because the Hudson River would be frozen.
Oh, wow.
Up where we were.
Do river fish still swim underneath the ice?
Yeah, and you'd have to get an auger, and you'd make your ice hole.
Could you imagine asking your kid to do this?
No.
Like taking your boy's about that age right now. He's 15. Could you just
He's
imagine
15.
being like, son, we're going to
go canoeing for 50 miles, and then we're going to
right now, we're going to get the Merrimack River, and then we're going to get an auger, and we're going to drill a hole and fish to survive in our moss hut that I
Dad
built.
wouldn't want to go either.
Yeah, I'm over that. I always said the military ruined that for me. That was the other thing about the sleeping bag thing you talked about. When I was in the service, they would be like, don't sleep in your uniform. Sleep in your underwear. And I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. It's negative 13 on the plains of Oklahoma, dude, in the panhandle. The winds are just, dude, it was like knives. And I'm like, fuck that, dude. I'm putting every layer I got on. But the problem was,
you sweat in your sleeping bag.
And dude, I did not know it. And big time error. Get in my sleeping bag one night, battle buddy. We're in our little pup tent. It's a 2-man shelter. We each got one half of the canvas on our bag. So it takes 2 guys to build the tent. It's basically just enough for you to lay in, which will keep the wind off of you for the most part. Keep the rain off of you. Laying there, I'm like, me and my buddy, I'm not taking my uniform off, dude. I'm sleeping in it. So I got on a uniform with the little wool undershirt they give you in the military, which is one of the warmest things I've ever put on. It's like the little thing with the 2 buttons at the top. Yeah. Fall asleep about 3 a.m. A drill sergeant throws a CS gas grenade into our tent.
Oh.
and it's like a drill for us to put on our gas masks and be ready to go. And, man, get out of my sleeping bag. I'm choking to death, trying to find my gas mask, put it on. We got to go to our fighting positions. It's raining outside, and I'm soaked. Like, I'm soaked. I've sweated through this thing, dude, because the sleeping bags actually are really highly rated.
Oh,
and they're hot, you know. But I fell asleep, didn't realize it. And my uniform froze onto my body almost in like less than a minute, dude. Like me and the other guy was like, holy shit, man. Our clothes are like frozen to our body. It was the most miserable I've ever.
Yeah, that was if you got a good sleeping bag. Yeah. The ones rated to like negative whatever. You do not go to sleep in your clothes because you will sweat and then you're screwed when you get up.
Yep, there's your hot tip from Rizz and Rafe.
I'm too soft now to do any of that stuff. That maybe because I've done it already. I did a lot of it when I was younger.
Yeah, I don't have it. It doesn't appeal to me. Like people are always like, "Do you want to go camping?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, let's rent a cabin or let's get a Airbnb." Like I love going on hikes and stuff. We did Yosemite, did all that stuff. I'm a big advocate for like going to the national parks and doing all that jazz. But man. I gotta have a home base. I need a shower and a controlled temperature to sleep in.
Listen, I'm getting my bathroom redone at home. I'm getting heated floors. Okay, so
yeah, so you're not going to the Adirondacks anytime soon.
No,
but do you think you still, if like a lot of people we're at a point in our society, people are doomsday prophesizing, and if it got to that point, we had to go bug out bags and you had to go live in the wilderness. Do you think you still have it in you, or do you think your family would perish pretty quickly?
It's like riding a bike, man.
You think you could do it?
I think I could, maybe. I actually think that's why my wife is still with me, because she thinks we can survive. She thinks we can survive in case something happens.
I'd like to get her on the phone and get her opinion about that. I don't know, man. I've softened in my older age. I still think I could do it if I had to, but man, it is so. It doesn't appeal to me to like lay on the ground and not get a good night's sleep and then try to do something active the next day. I'm just like, man, I'm out on that. Last time we went camping, we did a float trip last summer, and it was hot. It was like, 90 degrees at night, humid.
Yeah.
And I just told the people I'm with, I'm like, I'm going in town. I'm getting a hotel. You in or you're out?
That's wise. I would have been right there with you. Yeah. I did buy a book. It's called the Navy SEALs Bug In Guide. Not a bug out, but a bug in. So in case shit does go sideways with society, I am ready to fortify my house.
That's smart, dude. That's the Kevin McAllister approach, and I like that.
Well, in this book, and it's available on Amazon.
Does it have a Micro Machines chapter in that book, or is that not?
No, but it does tell you exactly what food to buy, including QR codes to buy it directly from Walmart and Amazon, really? How much to buy of it, how to store clean water, how to booby trap your house if your neighbors come looking for your stuff. Oh, dude, I'm telling you.
What kind of booby traps we talking here?
We're talking snares. We're talking all sorts of stuff. What kind of guns to buy for proper protection of the homestead?
Well, what are we talking? What do I need?
Oh, you gotta read the book.
Well, you were supposed to get me one of these. Pull up my screen real quick, Zane, because I don't know if this is the actual one, but we talked about these 60-serving bug-out buckets with the emergency food supply that go in your basement, like these. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Did you ever order any of those?
No, I got the book instead. Look up a Navy SEALs Bug-In book.
All right.
Like a Bug-In guide. I'll tell you if that's the one.
Because this little bucket is supposed to be 60 meals of like.
My brother-in-law's got 100 of those in his basement.
15-year shelf life. You can start a new society with
My
that.
brother-in-law in New Jersey bought 100 of those things.
He did?
What all those drones were going on down the Jersey Shore, he got crazy.
So now he's sitting on 100 bug-out buckets?
He's sitting on 100 bug-out buckets.
You got to move those, man. How do you move bug-out buckets at a discount?
I don't know. He's good. I'm going there if I got to make my way to Jersey if stuff goes sideways.
Navy SEAL Bug-In book, Joe Lambert. Does that sound right?
Let me see it on the screen.
That's
it.
The Bug-In guide.
That's it.
Let's see if there's what's the description? How to transform your home into the safest place on earth. That's all it says. It doesn't even give you like a sample. That's how confident they are.
I just gave you a sample.
Well, I mean, for $8.50, it must be the leading book in surviving the apocalyptic world. I mean, anything under $10 is what I would. That's what I would roll the dice of my family's security and safety in a lawless future land.
I was gonna lend it to you, but now I'm not. You're on your own, buddy.
I can get the PDF version for $7.
You're on your own. All right. With that, my 15 minutes is up. Good luck out there surviving the apocalypse.
Yeah, Mr. Bug in is bugging out. All right, that concludes the segment. That includes our survival segment, Bug In, Bug Out with Rizz and Rafe. I'll be back after a word from our sponsors. Welcome back, Bowl Patrol. I'm still here in the studio sitting on an iceberg because it's colder than a well digger's ass up in here. But hey, let's get into the second segment of the show because a lot's happening this week in the Annals of History.
From the Annals of History.
Oh, thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. We all survived it. It almost brought society to its knees. TikTok went away for 12 hours, guys. And this is the day. Well, I mean, it was bleak there for a minute. Not only TikTok, but Lemonade went down as well. What would we do without these wonderful, wonderful entities? These much needed, so societally important and impactful things that we see on TikTok every day. Now, I do get it. There were a lot of people saying, so many content creators losing their jobs. And I do get that, man. But at the same time, you can get deplatformed anytime for anything. That's what sucks about all these platforms, including the ones you're probably consuming this on. At any time, I can say some crazy shit, and they can take me off. They don't really have to give me an explanation. I've been banned on Instagram for the silliest thing in the world. I've been, demonetized on YouTube for using certain words. It's kind of goes with the territory. And it's unfortunate, but when you build your career on these platforms, you are subjugated to these platforms possibly going away. I mean, look at Vine, Periscope, Tumblr, so many of these things where people built followings, for people built careers. People were able to quit their jobs and be full-time Tumblers and MySpacers and whatever. They go away. Each app is kind of like the popular bar in a college town. It changes. TikTok will be big for a while, and whether it goes away or not, it will have a natural decline. I mean, look at Facebook. Our grandparents are on Facebook, and we all still have it, but we don't really use it, do we? Don't go in there very often, and maybe that'll change. Facebook probably just picked me up saying that and now won't show this video to anybody. That's how it works. You're constantly being spied on, and you're at the mercy of the people who created the platform. Now, I do have sympathy, though, as a content creator myself. I don't want anyone to get deplatformed or to lose it, but it's just interesting to me, some of the things we emphasize for national security. We're worried about TikTok and the Chinese Communist Party spying on us. Yet, I saw an episode of Dr. Phil where he superimposed a map of all of this agricultural farmland we let China buy in the United States, and he laid a map of all of our military bases over it. And guess what? Every piece of agricultural farmland butted up against a major high-security military base in the United States. Ain't nobody pissed about that. We don't seem to have any problems whatsoever, even though they're being classified as wind farms, and they all have windmills with no blades on the windmills. They just have the things standing up out of the ground. We're all like, oh, they'll get to it. China, they'll get to it. The country we owe billions of dollars to, I think they got the cash to afford fan blades. But, it's an interesting thing. But thanks to, you guessed it, the hero of the day, our new and used president, Donald Trump. He's back in office. What an ironic day to be sworn in. He got sworn in on Martin Luther King Day. Man, his father was accused of redlining black tenants from staying in his buildings, and a president who's been openly racist at times, I think, and been accused of it, maybe. Whether your political leanings or not, whether you believe it or not, and I'm not saying one way or the other. I don't want to wade into those waters. It's still funny. It's cosmically funny that the man would get sworn in on a day that we're celebrating someone a black civil rights leader who he advocated for humility, peace, understanding, tolerance, and Donald Trump gets sworn in on his national holiday. Same day the Fighting Irish, Notre Dame, lost the national championship. So much happened this week. The inauguration is the big talk. TikTok came back. They had to put up a thing saying thanks to Donald Trump. They didn't say how he did it, but they're back. It almost seemed like they were never going to go away. And it's interesting to hear his explanation for it was TikTok's back because we won the election on TikTok. I like TikTok now. And then the former president, he's correcting an ex-president who tried to ban TikTok. I don't know if you guys remember that president, but that was a president, well, the one before Biden, that said that TikTok was a national security issue and that China was spying on us and we shouldn't stand for it. Now, what was that guy's name? It'll come to me. But he's just fixing that guy's mistake because now he says TikTok is good because they got a lot of young voters on TikTok, so now he likes TikTok. So TikTok's back, everybody. Congratulations. If you were missing it for those 12 hours, I'm glad you survived it. And I'm glad that it's back. But honestly, the inauguration, that's the talk of the town. So much happened. I'm just going to give you the Cliff Notes because this is not a political podcast. First up, Melania showed up, dressed as Jim Carrey from The Mask. Go ahead and put that up. Look at that. What an outfit. Holy smokes. She had on a wide-brimmed hat. This is some of the best memes from the internet, guys, and I'm giving them to you. I'm giving you a stacked-up version. Somebody stop me. Well, guess what? She took Somebody Stop Me very, very serious because that is exactly what that hat did. Because if you take a closer look, you'll see in this next slide that I'm about to put up, she wore it for a reason. It stopped him, all right. Somebody stop me smoking. It stopped Donald Trump from being able to kiss her at the inauguration when he tried. He went in and leaned in for a kiss from the First Lady, and the brim of the hat said, "No, thank you. This is not backstage at one of your Miss America pageants, my friend. You can't just come and go as you please." Okay? So hats on to you. Sometimes I wonder if Melania is trolling him. I got to be honest. Whether you love the guy or not, it kind of feels like not only does she not want to be First Lady, I don't think she wants to be married to this guy. I think sometimes she's doing some of the best trolling on the internet. Some of the things she does make me laugh very, very hard. And him going in for a kiss and getting forehead blocked on his own inauguration, like they had to think ahead. Hey, babe, I'm going to kiss you on stage. And she's like, yeah, you go right ahead, bud. You go right ahead. And he just, he's not even within a foot of her lips, dude. Just got completely blocked out. That was a very funny one, but I think we all know the funniest thing or the craziest thing that happened at the election was it's probably going to be this. So let's just get to this and let's talk about it. Elon Musk, here we go.
You know, important, some are not, but this one, this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured. Thanks to you.
All righty.
Elections are...
Let's run that back one time, just to this part. So right about the time he said this election mattered, he slapped his chest, flipped his arm out. Is what is known, I mean, I've always known it as the Nazi salute.
My heart goes out to you.
And I think this is the part where he realized he had just done the Nazi salute, and he tried to say, no, I wasn't Sig Heil, it was my heart goes out to you. My heart is going out, but apparently he throws his heart. When he throws his heart out, he doesn't do it underhand like most people would. Like, I would throw my heart out to you. He throws it He grabs his heart and he tosses it tomahawk style, which is a very unorthodox Frisbee golf move. Apparently, when Elon puts his heart out, he puts it out and he throws it high. He throws it high in the air and he lets it hang there for a second. And then he did it again to the people behind him.
That the future of civilization is assured.
Now, they've asked him about it. Future of civilization is assured. I've heard that somewhere before. I believe when someone was talking about eugenics programs and things like that. But hey, maybe it is all a coincidence. Maybe it is. And Elon Musk said, well, this is a tired rhetoric. You're always rolling out the rhetoric that anytime anybody does something that you don't like, the left always says they're Adolf Hitler. Well, if you know that, man, if you're aware of that, which it sounds like you are, maybe don't do the Nazi salute during the inauguration of the president that's been accused of having Nazi tendencies. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, there's something that the left is always accused of, right? The left's always accused. I don't know. It may be in the Illuminati, right? Eating babies and drinking adrenochrome and having Hollywood sex orgies at Diddy's house with baby oil everywhere. And so let's say Biden won again or Harris won. And I spoke at the inauguration and I threw up the sign for the Illuminati at the end. Wouldn't I be welcoming that kind of criticism from people? If all of a sudden I was like, I don't eat your babies. Just kidding. This is my speech going out to you. My speech is going out to you, everybody. No, you'd be like, you're a fucking maniac. What are you doing? This guy and that. Yeah, I get it. He's clearly autistic, but my God, you can be more than one thing. There's multiple spectrums you can be on. You can be autistic and really racist and also possibly an anti-Semite. Now, I don't know if he is or isn't, and I don't need the Elon. I don't need the Musketeers trademark coming for me. It's just an interesting thing to observe as someone who's given up on the human race and is completely content watching it circle the drain, much like George Carlin was at the end of his career. It's an interesting thing to witness that at an inauguration of a president, a guy who is a billionaire, leading tech, taking over space travel, very influential person in the world, to even teeter around, even to wade into the waters of something that looks like a Nazi gesture, it seems like he's thumbing his nose at people. To me, now, I'm not trying to be an extremist or an alarmist on either side. Maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe when he throws his heart out to people, he does grab it hard and flick it as if he's flicking a backhand, the way someone would flick a bottle cap across the room in high school. Maybe that's how he does it. I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of that. But moving on. That was the inauguration. There's some other things I found, though. I was scrolling around on the toilet, and I think I really found the thing that sums up how we all feel right now in the post-election, post-TikTok, post-college national championship, post-Blue Monday, post-Martin Luther King, post-negative wind chill, post-LA wildfire, post-Eastern Seaboard hurricanes. I think one person really summed up how we all feel.
I'm a nobody. You understand? And you can't kill a person with no body. So why am I afraid? I'm not afraid. I'm afraid of the boogeyman. Who's the boogeyman? You figure it out. I'm getting out of here. I'm going back to Waterloo where the vampires hang out. And I'm going to wear my sunglasses at night. You know why? Because women show their tits, have short skirts, and then they feel violated when I look at them. Why? Because I have sunglasses on and I'm weird. I'm from Humberside. I'm sorry if I made a fool of Humberside, but all those people who called me a sleepwalker, I woke up. Now I'm going back to sleep because I'm going to be committed in an isolation room because I'm going to go back to the ministry and allow them to perceive me as I am, a fuck up. Goodbye.
All right. Sorry. Wrong clip. That was actually Elon Musk's speech after. So, my bad. I think that really summed up how we're all feeling right now, you know? I don't know what that guy's deal was, but I feel like that is everything I see on the internet. So, enjoy that. For the last part of the Annals of History segment, and I want to get into, though, man, I was scrolling around on the toilet. Rizz and I were talking earlier, and we'll shift gears into something a little more lighthearted to end the show. Rizz and I were talking earlier, you know, and he was talking about going camping and having to do survival things in the woods. And I was like, man, could your kid today even handle building a lean-to out of moss and going ice fishing and having to eat what you kill and go out 50 miles on a canoe in the Adirondack? And he's like, no, there's a 0% chance any kids could do that. You know, and I know kids today have their own set of skills, but I found a news clip from the 1980s. And I can promise you kids ain't doing shit like this today. And I just want you to know this might be the coolest kid I've ever seen. I'm just going to play this clip, and then we're going to talk about this. Here's a clip, an actual news clip from the 1980s.
Boy from next door ran out the back with the $8,000 in cash. They then believe that he got on the phone, called his 12-year-old friend, and told him about the money, and the spending spree got underway.
What were you doing a week ago today?
Having a great time. And we rented a limousine, and they took us, you know.
First of all, that kid looks like he's 30 years old in this clip, all right? People age different in the 70s through the 90s. I don't know what happened. Something in 1990 grossly retarded aging, because that kid already looked like he had a mortgage, like he had 2 children somewhere. I also love that they're doing a reenact. They got a limousine rolling up, but they did a reenactment for the news. When's the last time you saw a news reenactment? In today's news cycle, 24-hour news cycle, $1 million company. This was a local news station that really rolled out all the bells and whistles, and they have a reenactment. So this kid stole $8,000 from drug dealers. That's what this story is about. A child, a 12-year-old, stole $8,000 from drug dealers. Let's keep going.
Pier 39 is. Took us down there, you know, all those games are. We spent about $200 worth of games sitting there. And we bought some clothes. Bought these leather jackets right here, San Francisco. I don't know what leather shop. It says it on the back, but that don't matter.
Ray Jr. sums up his adventure in 3 ways. It was fun. He doesn't feel guilty about taking and spending drug money, and he wouldn't ever do it again.
Well, it's dangerous. We could have got killed. People kill for that money.
Ray's life has changed. He's broke again. Police are keeping the thousands of dollars they didn't spend, at least for now. Ray will also be looking for new friends. His parents will be sending him to a new school.
Boy from next door ran.
Why's Ray got to move? That's the coolest fucking kid in America. Why's he got to move schools? They should build a school dedicated to Ray. Can you imagine? I just watched this clip, and I'm like, I was scrolling on the toilet, keeping it true to form, and I'm like, I'm saving this for the show. This kid just went in the back door of a drug dealer's house in the 80s and grabbed $8,000, called his buddy, went and cashed it in for quarters and played arcade games and bought leather jacket. This is the adventure every kid in the 80s wanted to have. This is every 80s movie is about this, and this kid lived it. This kid, Ray. Why have I not seen a movie based on this kid's life? I want to know where this kid is. I want to know what happened to him. I'm assuming this dude has to be in some sort of punk band or something like that. He has to be like he had to go on to some sort of fame. I couldn't believe when I watched this video This guy's just standing in front of a burned out VW Bug, and we don't ever acknowledge it. The newscaster, like, put that back up, dude. The newscast starts. This guy
out the back with the $8,000 in cash.
There's just a VW Bug completely stripped out.
Called his 12-year-old friend and told him about the money, and the spending spree got underway.
What were you doing a week ago today?
Yeah, this kid, the commenter got it right. This kid looks like the kid from Mad Max Thunderdome, man. This has to be like a young Lenny Kravitz, right? This kid grew up to be Lenny Kravitz. He had to have. But hats off to Ray, the kid who stole $8,000 from a drug dealer. I just wanted to give you a shout out on this show, man. Wherever you are, if you could ever want to call in, 818-532-1420. Ray, give me a call. 818-532-1420. That goes for anybody. If you ever want to call in, be part of the show, be part of the Annals of History, you can call in at 818-532-1420 any day or night on the hotline. Tell me a secret. Get something off your chest you always wanted to talk about. Whatever you want to do, you can be part of this show. This concludes the Annals of History, and we'll be back after a word from our sponsor. That does it for this week's number 2 show from the Iceberg Studios here in 1-degree weather in St. Louis, Missouri. I froze my ass off, but I'm still here. I'm still talking to you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Me and Rizz got into some good chats about weather and whether or not we could survive in a post-apocalyptic world. And then I talked about the post-apocalyptic world we're living in. We covered everything that happened this week, from the ban of TikTok to Donald Trump's inauguration, and a little throwback to a kid named Ray from the 1980s who stole $8,000 from a drug dealer. God bless you, Ray. You were living the life we all wanted in the 80s, and I salute you, sir. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I enjoyed doing it for you. And until next week, until next time, I'm your host, Rafe Williams, and this is the number 2 show.